Question 1. Which of the following best describes the primary purpose of authentication in the context of identity and governance? Option A. Determining what an identity is permitted to do on which resources. Option B. Verifying the identity of a user, service, or device. Option C. Assigning permissions to roles, then assigning roles to users. Option D. Ensuring cloud resources adhere to defined policies and standards. The correct answer is verifying the identity of a user, service, or device. Here's the explanation. Authentication is the process of verifying an identity, user, service, device, answering the question, who you are. Option A describes authorization. Option C describes role-based access control, RBAC. Option D describes governance. Question 2. A company wants to grant access to a specific cloud resource based on a user's department, the resource's sensitivity tag, and the time of day. Which authorization model would provide the most granular and dynamic control for this scenario? Option A. Role-based access control, RBAC. Option B. Single sign-on, SSO. Option C. Attribute-based access control, ABAC. Option D. Privileged identity management, PM. The correct answer is Attribute-based access control, ABAC. Here's the explanation. Attribute-based access control, ABAC, grants access based on attributes of the user, resource, or environment, offering more granular and dynamic control than RBAC. SSO is for authentication, and PIM is for managing privileged accounts. Question 3. Which of the following identity and governance components is specifically designed to manage, control, and monitor access to highly sensitive resources, often including just-in-time, JIT, access and approval workflows? Option A. Directory services. Option B. Managed identities. Option C. Federated identity. Option D. Privileged identity management, PI. The correct answer is Privileged Identity Management, PIM. Here's the explanation. Privileged Identity Management, PIM, solutions are specifically designed for managing, controlling, and monitoring access to important resources, often incorporating just-in-time, JIT, access and approval workflows for highly privileged accounts. Directory services store identities, managed identities are for cloud resources, and federated identity is for cross-organization access. Question 4. Unlike traditional Active Directory Domain Services, ADDS, Microsoft Entra ID is primarily designed for what purpose? Option A. Managing group policy objects, GPOs, for on-premises domain-joined machines. Option B. Providing a cloud-based identity and access management, IAM, service for cloud and web applications. Option C. Hosting file shares and traditional DNS services for an internal network. Option D. Acting as a domain controller in the cloud for legacy applications requiring LDAP. The correct answer is providing a cloud-based identity and access management, IAM, service for cloud and web applications. Here's the explanation. The overview states that Microsoft Entra ID is a cloud-based identity and access management, IAM, service built for the modern cloud-first world, focusing on authentication and authorization for web-based resources. Question 5. A company has an on-premises Active Directory Domain Services, ADDS, and wants to allow users to sign in to Microsoft 365 and other Azure services using their existing corporate credentials without storing passwords in the cloud. Which Azure AD Connect authentication method should they choose? Option A. Password hash synchronization, PHS. Option B. Pass-through authentication, PTA. Option C. Federation with Active Directory Federation Services, ADFS. Option D. Azure ADDS. Domain services. The correct answer is Pass-Through Authentication, PTA. Here's the explanation. Pass-Through Authentication, PTA, allows users to authenticate against their on-premises ADDS via agents, meaning passwords are not stored in Microsoft Entra ID. PHS synchronizes password hashes, and Federation uses ADFS for authentication, which can be more complex. Question 6. Which Microsoft Entra ID feature allows an organization to enforce stricter access requirements, such as requiring multi-factor authentication, MFA, when users attempt to access sensitive applications from untrusted network locations or non-compliant devices? Option A. Privileged Identity Management, PM. Option B. Identity Protection. Option C. Conditional Access. Option D. Azure AD Connect. The correct answer is Conditional Access. Here's the explanation. Conditional access is a policy-driven access control engine that evaluates conditions, user, device, location, application risk, in real time to determine if access should be granted, blocked, or require additional verification like MFA. PIM is for just-in-time access. Identity Protection detects vulnerabilities, and Azure AD Connect synchronizes identities. Question 7. A company is migrating to Microsoft 365 and needs to manage user identities. They currently have an on-premises Active Directory, which Entra ID user account type allows users to use their existing on-premises credentials to access cloud services. Option A. Cloud-only users. Option B. Guest users. B2B collaboration. Option C. Synchronized users. Option D. Managed identity users. The correct answer is synchronized users. Here's the explanation. Synchronized users are sourced from an on-premises Active Directory via Entra ID Connect, allowing them to use their existing on-premises credentials for cloud services. Cloud-only users are created directly in Entra ID. Guest users are external, and managed identities are for Azure services, not human users. Question 8. Which Entra ID feature provides granular control over resource access based on conditions like user identity, location, device state, or sign-in risk, allowing policies to enforce MFA or block access? Option A. Self-Service Password Reset, SSPR. Option B. Role-Based Access Control, RBAC. Option C. Conditional Access Policies. Option D. User Provisioning. The correct answer is Conditional Access Policies. Here's the explanation. Conditional access policies are designed to provide granular control over resource access by evaluating various conditions, user, location, device, risk, and enforcing specific controls like requiring MFA or blocking access. SSPR is for password resets, RBAC assigns administrative roles, and user provisioning manages account lifecycle. Question 9. An organization wants to allow its users to reset their own forgotten passwords securely, reducing help desk calls. Which Entra ID feature enables this, and what is a common licensing requirement? Option A. Multi-factor authentication, MFA, requires global administrator role. Option B. Self-service password reset, SSPR, requires Entra ID P1 or P2 license. Option C. Conditional access policies, requires Entra ID free license. Option D. User provisioning, requires Microsoft 365 E5 license for all users. The correct answer is Self-Service Password Reset, SSPR, requires Entra ID P1 or P2 license. Here's the explanation. Self-Service Password Reset, SSPR, empowers users to reset their own passwords. It typically requires specific licensing, such as Entra ID P1 or P2, or Microsoft 365 Business Premium. MFA is an authentication method, conditional access enforces policies, and user provisioning manages account creation/deletion. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel.